and 4.
Hello and welcome to Pints and Quarts, a show presented by Craft Beer Nation. Today is August 20th, 2015, and we have a husband and wife team on the air with us tonight. Heidi and Steve Crandall are the owners of Devils Backbone Brewing here in Central Virginia, and we're going to talk to them about the past, present, and future of this highly accoladed brewery. So don't miss a second of it. While the intro music is going on here, get your beer into a glass and take that chance to click subscribe on our YouTube, Stitcher, or iTunes channels.
Time now for a look back at the last week in the craft beer industry. Pour a cold one and sit back for an all-new episode of Pints and Quarts, presented by Craft Beer Nation.
All right, we are back live here Thursday night, and we've got some regular panelists here. We've got Lola Laracy, Linda Dean, Randy Gardner Jr., Gil Mello, Charles Dunkley, myself, Matt Miller. We are from all around the U.S., and we are here and joined by, I'm in Virginia, Randy's in Virginia. We've got another Virginian couple here. We've got Steve and Heidi Crandall. Steve and Heidi, hello, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Hey, hi.
We're doing great. We're really excited to talk to you. We have, Randy and I live in, I guess everywhere in the Northeast or in the Mid-Atlantic is Devil's Backbone country now, but it all started right here. I can remember having a couple of flights down at the restaurant before you even moved to Lexington. So tell us a little bit about where you guys started and how the Crandalls got involved and where the idea came from.
Well, the idea initially came from, believe it or not, a ski trip to northern Italy. That was about 25 years ago, and fell in love with some great German beer on this ski trip. It just sort of blew my mind. Could drink 4 or 5 during the course of a day of skiing and wake up the next morning feeling great. Came home, lost 10 pounds. I was like, what is this stuff? Like rocket fuel, and set me on a journey to discover great beer. And I'm an adventurer, a hiker, a hunter, and done a lot of traveling out west. Heidi's gone with me, and we started discovering these great iconic craft breweries that started the West Coast and moved into Colorado. And at some point, the idea came to us, where we were visiting areas and they had these really neat little brew pubs at the base of mountains that, where we live in Nelson County is very mountainous. We have a resort here called Wintergreen, a ski resort, that it deserved a brew pub at the base of it. And I've been in the building business my whole life, and had bought 100 acres, a beautiful, beautiful piece of property, and decided to build the brew pub on this property. And had planned to develop the property. Fortunately, the economic downturn came along, made that not very viable. But at the same time, the beer took off, and we realized we had something special. And after about 3 years of being in the brew pub, we started working on putting together our package and brewery over in Lexington, Virginia, about an hour away.
And that's been operational for. Did you just have the 2-year anniversary? Seems like I was down to a party at the outpost there.
We're actually just started our 4th year.
I know, time flies, Matthew.
So
yeah,
really,
we're entering our 4th year come January, 2016.
Yeah.
Going into our 4th year.
Lots and lots of changes over there.
At the production facility.
Yeah,
I know. Wow.
Yeah. And at what point did you at what point did you have the inspiration to hire Mr. Oliver into the circle? I mean, where did he come in?
So. The way I started out was had no concept or idea of how to build a brewery or a brew pub, and somebody told me there was this organization called the Brewers Association, and I actually gave them a call and told them what I wanted to do, and I said, where can I start? How can I do it? They say, oh, we have a book on how to start your own brewery, and literally, I bought the book and read it and highlighted it and dog-eared it, and it was a dream, before it became a reality. But at some point, we designed the building, and I found a used Zeman Miyake skid-mounted brewing system in a restaurant in Tokyo that was for sale. And I was very much into traditional style beers and Germanic style beers, and was able to purchase this skid-mounted system. And the advantage of it was supposed to be, you know, it's on a skid, everything's there. It's got a decoction vessel, you know, it's very easy to pick up and move over here, but it turned out they couldn't get it out of the third-story building very effectively, so they basically cut it to shreds, and we ended up with a pile of stuff. But that pile of stuff had such promise that at some point I realized that, you know, I needed a brewer. I actually thought I was going to be a brewer, and I had a lot of people tell me I was too old, and which was
at the time.
At the time, and I'm older now.
8 years
But you know, it was definitely true. I mean, it's a very physical job, especially on a smaller system like this. But so I put out a help wanted basically ad on the BA site, and I got about 10 responses. One from all the way from Palau. I began discovering that the beer business is very international. You know, both in equipment, you know, selection and people, talented people. But one guy answered the ad. It was a guy named Jason Oliver, who was a Mid-Atlantic brewmaster for Gordon Biersch. He worked in the Gordon Biersch in D.C., and he was nearby, so it was sort of convenient. He had sort of been there for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, and sort of, you know, sort of tapped out what he could do with that facility, and was well regarded. And so he came down. He was very unsure about this because we're in a very rural area, you know. He didn't even have a car. He had to rent a car, and came down, and what sold him was the brewing system, the Zima Miyake system, the 10 hectoliter system. Just blew his mind, and it's like a Ferrari on steroids. And he only had one thing. He said, "Steve, you can't tell me what to brew," because he'd been told most of his brewing career what to brew. He was brewing within a specific range of beers for, you know, specific different breweries. And you know, I had really very little beer savvy to me. I knew a few things I liked, but didn't really have a broad range or scope of understanding of what could be brewed. And I said, "Sure, hey, whatever you want to do, man, come on down." And he worked on that brewery for about 3 months. And the interesting thing is all the instructions on the brewery are in Japanese, and so is all the manuals. But he was able to pull that thing back together with only one potential mishap. His decoction vessel almost blew up one time, but there was a valve stuck or something. But he got through that, and you know, the rest is pretty much history.
I'll come work with you, but you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, right.
No, I think I read you guys were planning to be about 10,000 barrels in the first year, and you kind of surpassed that a while ago, I would say, right? So how do you feel about that?
You know, we put a business plan together that we took to a bank, you know, to borrow the money to build the packaging brewery, and it was about a $6 million spend, and it was basically Heidi and I put up everything we'd ever earned in our lifetime. You know, we raised a family, and you know, we had a successful construction business, but to get the loan, you know, we had to co-sign. We went through a USDA guaranteed loan on it. It was the only way we could really get the money to make this thing happen, and it was at a bad time, and the economy was way down, you know, and everybody was holding on to their money. But we had some people that believed in sort of our idea, so you know, we were able to get the money and build it. And the business plan called for us to brew 30,000 barrels of beer in 10 years. And the financial side of that worked. You know, we could go through 10 years and make it work. And the reality was we were brewing at twice that level at the end of our second year. We were actually had some moments we were brewing at 60,000 barrels. And it's been just a hectic adding fermenters, adding, you know, chillers, adding equipment to get to the level that we are today. And probably one of the most challenging parts, other than obviously the equipment, are the people. And we've been exceedingly fortunate in that Virginia was sort of late to the craft beer game, you know. great breweries of Oregon and California and Washington State and Colorado. They were there, and they were doing amazing things. But we found that there were a lot of these great young beer enthusiast guys that were in the beer industry all over the country.
Women too.
Yeah,
Were
too.
you as excited as him, Heidi, for the whole process? Were you? I mean, as you said, women too. It's kind of nice to see you, kind of pushing the cart along. Let's say.
I am pushing the cart along.
Well,
are you pushing the cart along, or are you drinking from it as it goes?
I think he drinks and she pushes the cart.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm very.
No,
I'm very
I drink and she pushes me in the cart.
I'm very proud to say that we have a lot of women in our company, and we're very fortunate too, especially in the beer industry, which is male dominant. And what Steve was saying is we've had a lot of young folks come back to Virginia, which is their home state. So initially, the craft beer jobs weren't there on the East Coast; they were on the West, and we were able to provide a position for them where they just jumped at the opportunity, came back. One is a female brewer that we have who came from California, but her home place is right there, just outside of Lexington. So that's a joy to see, these young people that can come back home to their roots and actually have a steady job, enjoy a job they do, and a passion that they have.
Yeah, our head brewer worked for Victory, and our sensory guy worked for Left Hand. And I mean, these guys went out and basically got trained up by these great companies. But there's no place like home. You know what Dorothy says? There's no place like home. These guys wanted to come home, and the industry grew in Virginia in such a way that they could come home, and we're very fortunate and lucky they did, because they brought a lot of their talent with them and make us a better brewery.
Your flagship beer is, I'm assuming by default, is the Vienna Lager, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
There's something to be said about a brewery that has a lager a craft brewery that has a lager as a flagship beer. That's not something that you come across too often. I mean, in fact, I can't think of another one outside of, say, Jack's Abbey, who only make lagers, and Sam Adams, whose flagship beer is Boston Lager.
It's funny. We were at a conference in Florida in January, and Jim Cook was there, and he came up to me and said, "Steve, where'd you come up with that idea in the Vienna Lager? Because
it's better than mine."
And it caught me a little bit by surprise, but I ultimately had to say, my brewer Jason Oliver came up with that idea. But it stuck to our.
It has nothing to do with your original craft beer experience?
Yeah, it does, because I aligned what I turned out to understand and like with the type of equipment I bought, and then ultimately the brewer that wanted to brew on this type of equipment. So there was an alignment there, but honestly, I was pretty darn ignorant of the potential and the possibilities of what the equipment could do. I knew it was, and I had some help. I had some advisors and industry people giving me advice. It took me over 2 years to find the equipment that I was looking for. So I certainly had some help along the way, but the Germanic style, traditional style beers is what I really liked. The Hefeweizen was one of my favorite of all beers, and the odd thing was I wanted to make sure Jason knew how to brew that beer, and of course that was a very, very unchallenging beer, I suppose, for him to brew, and he does it very, very well. And the day the brewery opened, as a matter of fact, I snuck in the brewery a number of times and tried to pull some out of the tank. I had a little accident, but we don't need to talk about that right now. But because I was so excited about this beer, and when it came out in the restaurant, it was fantastic and amazing. But it wasn't much long after that he educated me and took me on this amazing beer journey. Just fabulous variety of spot-on, wonderful beers, and
today.
People always ask me, "What's your favorite beer?" And I'm like, "What's my mood? What am I eating?" There's such a great, there's just so many different drinking opportunities. It just what's in your glass.
Your GABF medals, I think, were all of them or most of them were German style beers, weren't they?
Most of them. I'm
So you
trying to think of some of
beer, and I know the Bach.
Yeah, Schwarzbier, Gold Leaf Lager, which is
There's a mixture in the categories.
But you're right.
But there are a lot of German style categories we do enter. We could say we specialize in,
That's right.
in dramatic styles and kind of stay true to that. Although why we still think outside the box with innovation and have these one-offs that we call that Jason and his team create at the pilot brewery.
Which is now the 10 hectoliter system.
Yeah, which are on tap and ever changing every week, and we're spoiled. We live 3 miles from the brew pub.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's really a problem. I'm 59 years old, and I got to be careful not to drink beer every day, which I know it's a good thing, but I also try to exercise, try to keep the weight off. But it's so enticing. It's so wonderful, as you guys all know.
Did Jim give you a high five after he tasted your Vienna Lager?
Yeah, he pretty much did. He's a very he's a very accommodating fellow and very kind-hearted and very supportive of what's going on in the craft beer world. And it's an interesting evolution that 8 or 9 years ago I was calling the BA up for a book on how to build a brewery, and now I'm on the board of directors for the Brewers Association, and I find that all very humbling and quite amazing.
So if anyone buys their book, they get to be on the board?
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay.
That's, I didn't think of that now. Is that the reason?
That is the
You're right.
How many people are on that board? Like 100?
No.
So speaking of Jim being such an advocate for craft beer, I think a lot of people lose sight of that because of the success that he's had, and a lot of people, kind of frown upon Sam Adams, just not realizing that they're frowning because of how successful they've become, and that was the point. You want to be successful at things that you do, so they've grown, they've gotten bigger. Along those lines, can you guys speak to your recent expansion into North Carolina?
Sure. We've done very well in Virginia, and of course we're in D.C. and Maryland where we've had some good successes. And North Carolina is very close to home for us. We have a lot of history there. Associations. My son's getting married to a girl from North Carolina. So it's interesting. In Virginia, we went almost exclusively AB Network, and those guys have really gone to bat for us and really helped us be as successful as we are today. But North Carolina, we pretty much split the AB Miller Coors guys, and it's an interesting state. I was talking to some folks in Raleigh last Monday at our rollout for Long Beverage, and these were the North Carolina beer guys. And they're both wearing orange shirts, and they're very strong advocates for craft beer in North Carolina. And great conversation. They said, Steve, you're going to be really challenged here in North Carolina because of the great number of breweries and great beer that's being brewed here. I said, yeah. I said, but I got one significant advantage over these guys in North Carolina. And they're like, what is that? I said, North Carolina breweries self-distribute. And they looked at me and said, yeah. I said, and I pointed to the guys at Long Beverage. I said, these guys are anxious, looking for a great brand to sell. They don't have any local, and that's a very different situation than what we find in Virginia, because Virginia, we can't self-distribute here. And I like that logo. Cheers. So we have a lot of respect for our distributor partners, and Tony McGee, I was on a panel with him up in Chicago, And he said something that really rang true to me. He said, our distributors are also our customers. And you know, it's very true. You have to, and these guys are pros at what they do. Now we put 4 salespeople on the street in North Carolina, and we got to do a lot of the heavy lifting there. But those guys have the relationships and the contacts. It would be darn near impossible for us to develop in the short run. And so we're looking forward to making it all work with those guys.
So is your beer already in North Carolina, or will it be going to North Carolina?
We rolled out in Greensboro last week,
okay.
And Raleigh this week, and actually we're going to be in Nashville next week, and we're rolling into Tennessee also.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania is so much closer.
Yeah.
But Oregon is so much. Oregon is so much. It's so much nicer out here. I think your beer.
We were going to go to Oregon.
Oregon.
It's interesting. we thought it was a great move for us. We're North Carolina, Tennessee, and probably by the end of the year into West Virginia, which is a small market for us. But we've been debating. Okay, what's going to happen in 2016? Are we going to go somewhere else? And we kind of think maybe we're not going anywhere else because we still have a lot of room to grow, not only in Virginia. We still have a lot of room to grow. We're limited on the breadth of our packaging in Virginia and our offerings, and we would like to dig deeper. And it certainly is easier for us to stay closer to home than to go into the next big state. But I certainly see ourselves being sort of an East Coast regional kind of brewery at some point.
How about if online sales became possible? Would you be willing to do online sales, say with a UPS contract?
We've actually done that once. I can't remember the name of the company that launched a couple years ago, and we worked with them. But they found it difficult to be profitable.
And they had some other regulatory issues that didn't make sense.
And so they folded. So I mean, if the Postal Service is talking about that, you probably
I know UPS has made it possible in Oregon now for smaller and smaller breweries to be able to package their beer and send it out across the United States, as long as that state does not have anything against the beer coming in. So, our local Flat Tail brewery can ship beer from UPS, throughout the entire world. They've now sent it to Australia and a few to Germany and things like that. It's really fantastic. But I'm wondering if you'd be interested. I think it would be more.
Absolutely.
You would create your own service to send it out.
We would. We would if we could.
We would be interested as long as we had enough beer to do it. The other problem we've had is challenge has been since the day we opened our packaging facility. Every year we've never had enough beer, and every year we've had to do some level of allocation. We started out. I think the first year we did. I don't know. What did we do? 10,000.
We did 10, and then the second was almost 25,000 barrels.
This year we're expecting 65, and we're looking at 16, and that number is falling in somewhere between 95 and 120,000 barrels. And that's
why I can't see the ceiling.
What we would like to do is get a 20% fluff in it, a 20% cushion, and we just can't get there, and it's very frustrating because we think we get there, and then we're just, the damn stuff sells.
Well, it's interesting you say that you were on the panel with Tony McGee, because I think one of their philosophies as far as going into new territories is that they want to kind of, for lack of a better expression, they want to kind of crush the territories that they're in already, right? They want to make sure that they're fully supplying those places with beer as much as they can.
Exactly.
With you guys rolling into North Carolina and then rolling into Tennessee, and there's still yet being room for more expansion or more brands or more variations of your packages in Virginia. I have to assume that there has to be some brewery expansion on the horizon, no?
Yeah. Well, there is.
We just did one.
Well, we just got the
Just
90,000
shiver behind you.
Yeah, we just got the 90,000 barrels in June. We put a 120-barrel brew house, so we have a 30-barrel Rolec and a 120-barrel Rolec that we're brewing on in Lexington. We added 3 960-barrel tanks that got us to 90,000 barrels, and we have 3 more 960-barrel tanks coming in at the end of September that'll take us to 120 capacity. And we have 3 more 120 scheduled to come in February, which will take us to 150,000 barrel capacity. And so, you know, it's a real tightrope walk to understand. You don't want to go beyond your supply lines. You know, it's a battle term. Don't go beyond your supply lines. And we want to make sure we don't do that, because our customers are the most important thing to us, our most valuable asset, and we don't want to disappoint. And like I said, we do have more room to grow, significantly, we think more room to grow in Virginia, and fill out North Carolina and Tennessee. So it's challenging. You know, we're effectively a very young company. You know, I look at the iconic great companies, Firestone Walker, you know, companies I really admire, Deschutes and Victory and others, and they've got 20, 30-year cultures developed in the company, and that's a great thing to have, and so we're trying to be cautious. We want to do the right thing. We want our brewers to be happy. We want our employees to be happy, and we want to make good beer. We don't want to sacrifice on quality. So, you know, lots of balls in the air.
Area too. Your brewery is located in a beautiful region too.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And the brew pub, you know, it's on 100 acres in Nelson County, and we drive from there to the outpost in Lexington on the Blue Ridge Parkway. You know, and I oftentimes bring people from out of town on the drive over to see both breweries, and we stop and look at these views that are stunning, and watch bears run across the road and that kind of thing. So we're very fortunate to be in this area of Virginia, and it speaks to who we are. You know, we're all about the outdoors. We're all about campfires. We're all about backpacking. We're all about hiking. We're all about nature, and we're right in the heart of that. So it's fun. And I'm a Eagle Boy Scout, right? So it's sort of funny how that sort of developed as part of the culture of our company.
Well, cheers, because you guys, with everything that you said you wanted to do, you know, you want to make good beer, you want to make sure your brewers are happy, you want to make sure your customers are happy. That absolutely sounds like not just a recipe for success, but recipe for success the right way. So all the best to y'all, man.
Here.
Thank you very
Excellently
much.
said.
All right. Well, you guys have built. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, next time I'm in Oregon, I'll bring some beer out.
Oh, blessings. I will give you my home address.
Okay, do that.
Well, you guys have built quite a nice business for yourself here. 2 locations in Central Virginia. What did you say? 65,000 barrels of brew. I guess the next question is: are you guys for sale? Because Randy's got an article here where there's lots of craft breweries for sale out there. Maybe you're not for sale. Maybe you'd like to buy some.
Well, I mean, are you offering something?
I've got a glass here with a little. So
are we talking $2,000 per 1,000 barrels? You know.
Yeah, I can write you a check. I can write you a check for any amount you want.
Due to our advanced age, no. It's
Heidi looks like a much.
The reality is,
it's my facial product I use.
She's 20 years younger. The reality is, we're having a lot of fun with this.
Yeah.
It's very exciting to grow this business. It's very exciting to see all the young people that we have coming into the business. I just talked to a guy by the name of J.B. Sharman, and he was one of the 27th people hired by New Belgium. And in a period of, I think it was 6 years, they hired every 13.8 days they hired a new person in the company, and to get that number up to like 375, generally the right name. We're sort of in that same zone right now. We're hiring people, and we're hiring not only frontline people, but people now to back up the frontline folks. So that's very exciting for us. Our plans are totally to continue on and build this brewery and enrich our family of employees and bring a great product to our customers and consumers.
Yeah, we have about 120 employees now, and it keeps growing. And they're actually considered family. We use that word, one of our values.
And you know how family can be sometimes. You can pick your nose, you can pick your friends.
No, we're all very supportive. You know, we've always built this family culture around the employees. It's important to us ourselves as we raised our kids, and now we're raising a company of family members. So.
Yeah.
Now, Randy, did you think that article was a little too short for such a complex topic? Like, it seems so trivial touching on the topic there.
So we got the article from brewbound.com, and it was an article they wrote off of an article that was written by Reuters, and the article starts out talking about there are more than a dozen craft breweries for sale, and they name some big ones. They name Lagunitas, they name Sweetwater, Ballast Point, and they even named Dogfish Head, right? But later on in the article, we kind of find out that that's not really true. Dogfish Head is not for sale, in fact. And in the words of Sam, he said the only direction, Dogfish hadn't decided to go in any direction other than the off-center direction we've been going in for 20 years. and he said,
sounds like Dogfish.
Sam's an amazing proponent of craft. He's a great mentor of ours. And matter of fact, he talked to him in an email yesterday, and it's humbling to follow those guys. I liken it to they led the way. They built the roads and the interstates and the off ramps and the on ramps for us, the newer generation of guys getting into this business, and we're grateful for that, and we're looking forward to catching up to them too.
Yeah, well, he says here in an article that he's militantly sure that Dogfish Head's future is that they're going to be a family-owned company for at least the next decade. But the article also speaks a lot about Brooklyn Brewery, and they're looking to construct a new $150 million brewery. So they're kind of at a point where they're not looking to sell, but they're looking for investors. And the
equity
owner,
investors.
yeah. And the owner, I think his name is Hendi. I can't remember. Steve Hendi.
Steve. Yeah.
He said in the article that if anybody wants to sell, then right now would be the time to do it because valuations are ridiculous for breweries right now. In a 2-week period, he had 17 different private equity firms that called him, and that's more than well, on average that's more than one a day. So
yeah.
The article, in my opinion, was a little misleading because
it was like a catch me and read me kind of article.
Right.
I think
it was clickbait, right?
Yeah.
They report this information in a weird kind of way. I'll say that, and they incorrectly said that Dogfish Head was for sale, and then they go along with this list of all the companies that were either sold recently or had some type of sold completely or had some type of equity stake, and they go that New Belgium is on the list. Well, yeah, they were sold. They were sold because it went 100% ESOP. Right.
So it's left hand.
Yeah, left hand, same thing, but with Full Sail, Harpoon. Well, they weren't 100%. They were 48%. Boulevard went to Duvel or Duvel, however you want to say it. And so Boulevard, Firestone Walker, Omegang, all those guys sold to Duvel, but Duvel is craft beer. They're a family-owned company themselves. So it's not like they're selling out to AB InBev or
And Firestone Walker, it's very misleading there because they were not sold to Duvel. They sold a part of they still have control of the company.
Right.
The way they report there, it seems that they just gave the company away and took money and walk away, and
that's how writing is done these days. You write an inflammatory headline, and then you spend 3 paragraphs walking what you just lied about back.
No. That's all the writers that just want clickbait. Okay, there are honest writers out there.
Well, I tell you what. That all said, I mean, it's no secret that breweries are being bought now. I mean, and the fact that breweries are being bought at the pace at which they are being bought by who's buying them speaks a lot to what craft beer is, what people predict the future of craft beer to be, and the people involved in craft beer. I mean, nobody wants to buy anything that they feel is going to be a failure. Fact. Nobody wants to buy something they don't like. Fact. So the fact that people are trying to, well, I say people, I'm talking about AB InBev, okay? If the fact that they want to buy craft breweries left and right, and they want to come out with unprovoked shots during Super Bowl, they want to drop $3 million on a 30-second commercial to kick craft people and to kick them, period, unprovoked. Then hey, do what you need to do, but let it be known that speaks volumes about your fear of the industry and the people.
I think we as craft beer sometimes we forget those are business. They have the right to sell or to be sold or to buy is their own decision, and it's up to us as a consumer to decide to keep consuming or not. And like we said last week, we have no problem with big breweries. We have problem with business practice, and that's the only thing.
Yeah, good beer is good beer, and
for sure.
The big guys they swing a big club, but at the same token that there's some great beer that's being made out there, and hopefully we can just all play well together, and we're not going to see some sort of unfair trade practices going on where the big guys are trying to crush the little guys. Our position in this whole thing is we're too small to be big right now. We're too big to be small. We're sort of caught in the middle of this right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. But as far as breweries being sold, there's still some big names out there that are going to make the news here in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
Not us.
I like to think that you guys kind of feel the same way as we do on this topic, because I mean, more than anything, you respect the craft, and if you respect the craft, you understand beer, and you understand what it takes to honestly what it takes to make a Budweiser or a Bud Light. That's a difficult beer to make. We say it all the time. So I mean, it's a difficult beer to make. They do it.
Yeah.
Say again.
Difficult to make it consistent over and over and over. So, in multiple different locations. Very, very challenging.
And the fact that they do that, I think that you guys respect that just the same. Well, we respect it the same way you guys do, and I like to think that your gripe, or if you have one, would be just like us along the lines of business practices and pooping on the guys who are passionate about it for monetary gain.
That's why I love that saying, beer is good. Good beer is good.
Yeah. We're all about being beer positive, and it is a challenging business. It's going to become more challenging. We got a lot more people coming into it. At the same token, I think a lot more people are embracing it. So, still I think there's a lot of room for this thing to run in terms of growth. But it's a business, and that does sort of tarnish a little bit the ethos of the artistic brewer dumping his malt into the kettle and all that, but it is a business, and we want to be successful at it like everybody else, so we're going to keep hammering at it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should move on to the releases, because there's going to be a few of them to go over here quick. So I'm going to read down through the beer releases that are coming out here last week, this week, next week, and we're going to talk about Devils Backbone releases too. But the first one here is Odell has got Oak Haven Whiskey Peach. It's a pale ale dry hopped with Colorado Western Slope peaches and then aged in freshly dumped bourbon barrels. So that is a big meal of a beer there from Odell. Dogfish Head's got their 120 release. They release that a couple times a year, I think, right?
Yeah, twice a year.
So they got another 120 release here last Monday. Dewclaw, we had them on here a few weeks ago. They've got their Mad Bishop German Style Oktoberfest, came out last week. Crooked Stave in Denver's got Petite Sour Pure Guava Oak Aged. Lots of cool sounding things in there too. That comes out today. Revolution in Chicago. I don't think I've had anything from Revolution. They've got their
They're
old
a good brewery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They've got their old country alt beer out today, and their Oktoberfest coming out the 9th of September. Heavy Seas in Baltimore has got Desert Island Series. Their New World Saison comes out tomorrow. This is a good time of year for Saisons, and my tastes as well too. And then I'm going to go through these kind of fast because here comes the pumpkin beers. Heavy Seas has got the Greater Pumpkin, and that's a bourbon barrel aged version of that next week. New Belgium's got Pump Kick Ale. That's that pumpkin beer with lemongrass and cranberries. Comes out in September. Ballast Point's got Pumpkin Down. I think I've seen pictures of that. Yes, I haven't seen it on the shelf. I've seen pictures of it. Terrapin's got Pumpkin Fest, which is their pumpkin lager. Noda in Charlotte, North Carolina, has got Gorgeous, their pumpkin ale brewed with 100 pounds of organic sugar and caramelized brown sugar, cracked spices, and 42 pounds of pumpkin. Man, that's a big
mouthful.
There, Gil. Yeah. That is a lot there. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll make it short next time.
It's Noda in Charlotte, North Carolina. Cigar City's got Good Gourd. That's one of my favorites. New Holland's got Ichabod Pumpkin Ale. Brooklyn's got Post Road Pumpkin Ale. Dogfish has got Pumpkin. They're not released. The headline there was they're not releasing until September 1st, as it should be, right?
Cheers to them for that.
Yeah, they're not coming out in July with their beer. Weyerbacher is maybe my favorite one. That's Imperial Pumpkin Ale. That's just a really nice one. Coronado, we were talking about Rick Chapman earlier. They've got Pumpkin Drublick. I didn't say that wrong.
I like that. I like that.
Republic. Schlafly's got Pumpkin Ale, and Alaskan has got their Pumpkin Ale. That came out last week as well, too.
I think it's their first year making a pumpkin ale. I think
yeah. I have one of them in the fridge. I think they sent me one.
Hey, Matt.
Tell us about your beer. Oh, I'm sorry, Randy. Go ahead.
Going back to Noda, quick shout out and congratulations to Chad Henderson for now being a part owner. And Noda. Yeah.
Which is the right thing. He's definitely been a big part of their growth there. So.
Beer Mad Chad.
All right. Steve and Heidi, tell us about your pumpkin beers and what do you guys have coming on the shelf?
So, we've got the Pumpkin Hunter, which we've had around, that's just released, that we've had out for a number of years. It was formerly Ichabod Crandall as a jab at me from my brewer. I wasn't a big fan of pumpkin beers, and so, of course, he named a beer after me. And
the graphics relate to Steve, yeah.
The graphics.
Someone Steve.
It's a headless guy riding.
So that pumpkin beer, tell us what you would pair it with.
Yeah.
What would I pair it with? Well, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Well,
it would be good with pork tenderloin.
Yeah.
It'd be actually very good with pecan pie. It's a very light, flavored bodied beer and hints of spices.
Yeah.
So I could see it very well paired with delicious pecan pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's light. It's easy drinking. It's low ABV. It's not crazy. Sort of like a lot of our beers, but
that's your MO. That's your modus operandi.
I know you guys are aghast. It definitely hit the shelves the first week in August. We like it to stay around through October. Last year was gone mid-September, and we hope we made a little bit more this year, but we'll find out. I think we actually lost a 120-barrel batch of it. We had some issues, and that's just part of the beer biz.
Well, Steve, I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of pumpkin beers, but I will drink one with Thanksgiving dinner. So
pumpkin beers are awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know. Let's go back to the artwork there because if Ichabod was headless, how did they work the soul patch into the artwork?
Just a little soul patch in the air.
Yeah, no, it's a bear. It's a bear.
My head is off. The soul patch, you said the cut was below the soul patch.
Okay.
Well, instead of a headless horseman, it's a headless person on a bear, riding a bear, and then he's holding Steve's head, like how you see him today in a baseball hat. It's holding Steve's head.
We were actually out in Las Vegas at I think it was a weekend show, and we were in a booth next to who the other folks that had the Ichabod? New Holland. And we didn't realize there was another Ichabod. And it was a little embarrassing because they had their Ichabod there, and we had Ichabod Crandall there. And we looked at each other and said, "Uh-oh." And they clearly had it before we did, and so we just said, yeah, we're going to back off on this one, and they were very gracious about it, so it wasn't a big deal.
You'll be hearing from our attorneys. Nice beer, but you'll be hearing from my patent attorney.
Yeah.
Here you go, Matt. I don't. You probably can't.
Oh, there you
I don't know if I can make that a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll put it up on craftbeernation.org too. So. Oh yeah, there we go. The baseball cap. You don't go anywhere without a baseball cap, Steve, I guess.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Some of our other beers, we've got a collaboration pack coming up. What are we putting in there, Heidi?
Well, no, we have a collaboration.
Oh, I'm sorry, the variety pack.
We can't announce that yet.
Yeah,
sorry.
the variety pack. What do we got?
We've got one that's just currently going out. Our adventure packs has got Spider Bite. That's a black wheat. Betamax.
Black Wheat IPA.
Yeah.
And you can announce that. We just keep between us and viewers.
What?
Oh yeah, the secret even between them.
Oh no, we can't. We it's not finalized.
I will tell you. No, I will tell you. We have some couple collaborations coming up with a very, very large craft brewery and a smaller craft brewery in North Carolina. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that doesn't narrow it down. There's a lot of.
I know.
I know.
You're so clever, Steve.
You'll hear very soon. We've always done collaborations, but now that we've gone into packaging, we're able to create collaborations, actually bottle and put it in this adventure pack.
Yeah.
So it's been.
So you guys, last year we did the winter collaboration with Ninkasi, Coronado, and Fatheads.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic. We put our IPA in there, and we're going to do something as exciting and interesting this January, also in that collaboration pack. But there's some other things, as I said, in North Carolina that's in the works.
Yeah.
And then, so what's coming in our variety? What do we put in there? We have the Spider Bite.
We have the Betamax.
Betamax. What's the Betamax?
I'd have to look it back up.
Yeah, this stuff's coming so quick. Yeah. I don't even know that I've had it. But it's delicious.
You haven't had it.
Hey guys, if you're in Oregon right now and you are looking for the collaboration with Ninkasi, go look at Beer 30 because they've got it on tap and there's a quarter keg left.
Really?
Yeah, there you go.
Jeff from Ninkasi, thank you so much, Jeff from Ninkasi. He emailed me and said, hey, our collaboration beer is out there.
Now, how fast? Is that a long drive to you there, Linda?
No, actually, it's across the street.
There you go. You're going to have some Devil's Backbone before you know it.
And the Betamax is an Imperial IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you guys can't see is just off camera, just below the camera line at Steve and Heidi's house. She's got her elbow lined up, firmly ready to drop him right off the chair. If he says something he's not supposed to say. I'm like, well, let me tell you about, and she takes a deep breath, like, no, don't say it. Don't say it. Stop.
Well, I'm head of branding, so yeah, I'm like, Steve. Well, the reason for that is that it is a collaboration. There's other breweries involved, and although we haven't,
they got it. You don't have to go there.
Yeah, but we just, everybody
Sorry.
everybody has to agree on everything. So, yeah.
Steve, you're gonna get that elbow for no reason now. So, well, I mean, for no reason, really.
Steve, you get
I've
beat
got
up.
a permit on my side. It's not a problem.
We've been married a long time.
All right, we're going to
30
talk about
plus.
a few. We're going to talk about a few festivals and in theirs. Cincy Brew Ha Ha's in Cincinnati this coming weekend, the 20th and 22nd. Flower City Brewers Festival is on Friday the 21st in Rochester, New York. Boulder Craft Beer Fest.
Rochester.
That's what they call it. That's what the locals call Rochester, New York.
I've never heard that before. I've never heard that.
No kidding. Boulder Craft Beer Festival in Boulder, Colorado, August 22nd. That's Saturday. German Beer Festival in Atlanta, Georgia, on the 22nd. Ready, Set, Growl Beer Festival is Santa Rosa, California, August 23rd. Is that Sunday? That's a Sunday Beer Festival. Yeah. Wild Brew in Tulsa, Oklahoma is on 22nd on Saturday. And Great Nebraska Beer Fest is in Papillion, NE, Nebraska. Great Nebraska. I know, but Papillon. But it was funny. I looked at the NE and I was trying to think of what state NE was, and Nebraska's right there in the name of the. Yeah. So the one I skipped over there was the Virginia Craft Brewers Fest in Roseland, Virginia, on the 100 acres of Devils Backbone Base Camp. Tell us about that, guys.
So I'll let Heidi jump in here in a second, but we right now we're over 2,000 ticket sales, and which is great for this early. We get a lot of walk-ups the day of. The day's high of 84, low humidity is going to be absolutely amazing. Friday night we have 65 Virginia craft breweries going to be at the event. Friday night we have a brewers dinner where we get together and everybody can enjoy each other's company. Actually, before the dinner, we have a guild meeting that will discuss, events in Virginia, different issues, political and legal issues. So the guild in Virginia is getting very strong. It's getting very organized, and we got a lot of the breweries getting behind it. And this festival basically raises money for the guild and helps support some of our political efforts that we're putting forth. We have a unique situation in Virginia that we're aligned with the Virginia Manufacturers Association. They're a lobbying arm that's well established and very savvy, and they were the ones that helped us get past SB 604, which allowed us to sell pints of beer in our breweries. And that happened over a 4-month period, which was basically unheard of, but it was in alignment with those guys. So anyway, we're raising money for the event. Heidi, you want to talk about some particulars?
Yeah, so we also have 2-day camping or 1-day camping there, Friday and Saturday nights, your choice. We've got a barcade, which means there's all kinds of unlimited games to play. We also have the outdoor bar set up where we've got 20 sponsored Virginia craft beers.
So we have full half barrels there for full pours, and then you can go around to the 65 breweries and get tastings.
Right. So what's great about it is you can come in and park for the weekend and just enjoy the pre-fest on Friday night and then attend the fest on Saturday. And we'll also have some food trucks and some other adult-type games, larger-than-life kind of things.
And this event is becoming one of the premier sort of judging events in the country.
I forgot about that.
We have, qualified judges that judge at the Great American Beer Festival. That we send all our beer up to Northern Virginia. I think it was at Quarts City is where they did the judging, and the results are already in. Nobody knows about it yet, and gold, silver, and bronze medals will be given in a number of categories, and then best of show, gold, silver, and bronze will be presented to the 3 beers that judges deem best of show. And so it's very prestigious. A lot of breweries, their first opportunity to get in and get some accolades for what they're doing, and
to be in front of people.
And be in front of people, and it's a great great thing for craft beer in Virginia.
It's about the only time I can think of during the year where a consumer can come to one location and experience all the Virginia craft breweries that exist.
Yeah, it's the only time during the year. Yeah.
Suddenly, I'm regretful for not making plans to come visit Matt.
Come on down. You need a place to stay. We'll put you
I got
up.
room. I got a room here. I believe the VIP tickets are all sold out, but you can still get
They
general
are.
admission tickets. So,
You can still get general admission tickets.
and the camping's
walk
only
up.
like $20 a night, so that's cheaper than a cab ride. So
Yeah. So we got a couple of good bands, and we got what's the big thing? The marching band. It's
we have the pop-up
every hour is gonna.
local pop-up marching band from UVA. They're
Yeah.
awesome too. But,
Yeah. They'll be running around the place, and so it's pretty neat.
that's
Nice.
pretty awesome. All right, well, that is this weekend, starting tomorrow, actually. So these we're so glad this is a Thursday night show. We wouldn't have gotten them tomorrow night. So they do need to get some sleep before the events of tomorrow begin. So we really appreciate your time, Heidi and Steve, coming on the show and talking to us, talking to our followers. So if anybody else has anything to say, I'm going to wrap this up with a until next week. And I have no idea who our guest is, but it's going to be great. It's going to be delicious.
Shipyard Brewing.
Shipyard.
Hey,
is next week. Our guest next week. Yeah. So it's going to be great. Until next week, find some good beer, find some great friends, and mind those P's and Q's.
Thank you guys.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing. You're an amazing job.
Thank you guys.